Listen carefully. This is not just another story. This is not some casual conversation meant to entertain or pass the time. No, this is your wake-up call. The moment you stop standing in the shadows and start reclaiming what was always yours. They played games with you. They toyed with your trust, your loyalty, your heart. They laughed as they twisted the rules to suit their own agenda, leaving you scrambling, questioning yourself, doubting your worth. But here's the thing. They never expected you to wake up. They never expected you to see through their illusions. And now, they're the ones about to get played. Take a moment and ask yourself, how much longer? How much longer will you let them pull the strings of your life like you're some puppet on a stage? How many more nights will you cry over people who wouldn't even notice your tears if they fell at their feet? How many more times will you let them push you aside, call you insignificant, treat you like you're disposable? It stops now. Today, we put an end to the games. Today, we flip the board and they're the ones who won't know what hit them. You've been underestimated. You've been mocked, betrayed, and belittled. They thought you were weak because you stayed quiet. They thought your kindness was a sign of naivety, a free pass to walk all over you. But let me tell you something they don't know. There's a fire inside you, a storm brewing just beneath the surface. And when it breaks, there won't be a single game left for them to play. They thought they could control you, but they didn't realize that every piece of you they tried to break was building you into someone unshakable. You've been carrying their weight for far too long. The lies they told, the promises they broke, the traps they set, they thought you'd drown under it all. But you didn't. You're still here, and that's what they fear the most. They fear the day you look in the mirror and see what they've been trying to hide from you. Your power. They know that once you find it, their games are over. And that day, my friend, is today. So, I'll ask you again, how much longer will you let their games dictate your life? How much longer will you stand on the sidelines, watching them rewrite your story, chapter after chapter? Because every second you wait, they win. Every moment you hesitate, they take another piece of your freedom, another piece of your soul. And I know you're tired. I know you're exhausted from fighting battles you didn't even choose. But if you stop now, they'll win forever. Is that what you want? The time for silence is over. The time for waiting, for hoping they'll change, for praying they'll treat you better. It's done. They had their chance and they blew it. Now it's your turn. It's your move. The stage is yours and the rules are about to change. No more playing small. No more second guessing. No more giving them the benefit of the doubt. The silence translated, now your journey. It's time to step into the light and let them see the person they tried to bury. Because here's the truth. They thought they could break you, but all they did was sharpen the edges of your strength. This isn't just another speech. This isn't just another moment. This is the turning point. This is where you stop being the victim of their games and start becoming the architect of your own destiny. They played games with you, yes, but now they're playing themselves. And trust me when I say, they won't see it coming. So, what's it going to be? Are you ready to rise? Are you ready to rewrite the story? Because the pen is in your hands and their games are over. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the weight you've been carrying, the silent burden you've shouldered for far too long. It's not just exhaustion. It's that bone-deep weariness, isn't it? The kind that doesn't go away with sleep. The kind that feels like you've been running a marathon you never even signed up for, with no finish line in sight. Every step you take, it feels like someone is moving the goalpost, changing the rules, making sure you never truly win. And no matter how hard you try, no matter how much of yourself you pour into their approval, it's never enough. You've been their pawn, haven't you? Shuffled around, sacrificed for their gains, made to believe you're nothing more than a piece on their board. And the cruelest part? They made you doubt yourself. They planted those seeds of uncertainty so deep that now you're the one watering them. They didn't just play games with you. They manipulated the very way you see yourself. They gaslit you into believing their lies until you started questioning your reality. You've been there staring into the mirror, asking yourself, is it me? Am I the problem? That's what they wanted, wasn't it? They wanted you to think it was all your fault. That if you were just a little different, quieter, softer, smaller, things would be better. But let me tell you something right now. It's not your fault. It was never your fault. They played games with your heart, with your mind, with your soul, but the blame lies squarely on them. I being one. It's my fault. You can identify weaknesses or a different game. You've been fighting a battle on two fronts. One against them, the manipulators, the toxic people who only took and never gave, who smiled to your face while stabbing you in the back. And then there's the second battle, the one that's even harder, the battle within yourself, the voices that echo in your mind, repeating their lies long after they've left the room, the guilt that weighs on you for things that were never your responsibility, the fear that maybe, just maybe, they were right about you. And it's exhausting, isn't it? To fight this war day after day with no allies, no map, no end in sight. You wake up every morning with a knot in your stomach, bracing for the next blow. You go to bed every night replaying their words, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. And in between, you try to hold yourself together, to smile, to act like everything's fine, when inside, you're falling apart. Let's name the villains. Let's call them out for what they are. The manipulators who saw your kindness as a weakness. The toxic individuals who thrived on your insecurity, who made you question every step you took. The societal pressures that told you to stay quiet, to endure, to be the bigger person while they tore you down. And then there are the internal enemies. The self-doubt they planted, the fear of failure they cultivated, the guilt they used to keep you in line. But let me tell you this, you are not weak for feeling this way. You are not weak for being tired, for being hurt, for wanting to give up. You are human, and the fact that you're still standing, despite everything they've done to you, speaks volumes about your strength. You didn't choose this fight. You didn't sign up to be someone's punching bag, someone's pawn, someone's safety net. But here you are, still fighting, and that matters. That means something. Because every time they pushed you down, you got back up. Maybe you stumbled, maybe you crawled, but you got back up. And that terrifies them, because here's the truth they don't want you to see. They played games with you because they saw something in you they couldn't have. They saw your light, your potential, your power, and it scared them, so they tried to dim it. They tried to convince you that you were small, because your greatness made them feel inadequate. You've been through hell, and I won't sugarcoat it. It's not fair, it's not just, but you are not alone in this. You are not the only one who's been betrayed, who's been lied to, who's been made to feel like they were nothing. And you don't have to carry this weight by yourself. You've been running, yes, but not in vain. Every step you've taken, every tear you've shed, every night you've spent questioning your worth, it's all been building something within you, a strength you didn't know you had, a resilience they never expected. And while it may feel like the world is against you, I need you to hear this. The fact that you've endured this long proves you're stronger than you know. You're still here, you're still breathing. And as long as you have breath in your lungs, you have a chance to change everything. So yes, they played games with you. They twisted your reality, made you doubt your worth, and left you to pick up the pieces. But here's what they don't understand. The more they tried to break you, the stronger you became. They've been playing checkers while you've been preparing for chess, and their time is almost up. You are not the sum of their betrayals. You are not defined by their games. You are more, so much more. And it's time you start seeing that. It's time you stop carrying their shame, their guilt, their lies. It's time you start shedding the weight that was never yours to bear. Because the truth is, they didn't play you. They played themselves, and soon enough, they'll realize it. Let's stop pretending for a moment. Let's drop the masks and strip away the layers of denial. Let's talk about what happens if nothing changes. Let's talk about the reality you're living, the one you've been avoiding. Because ignoring it won't make it disappear. It's like standing in a burning building, convincing yourself the flames will die out on their own. They won't. The fire only grows, and if you don't act, it will consume everything. You've been living in someone else's story, haven't you? Letting others write the chapters of your life. One manipulation, one betrayal at a time, and as they scribble over your dreams and crumple up your confidence, you've convinced yourself that this is just how it is, that this is your life. But let me ask you something. Is this the story you want? Is this how you want to be remembered? As someone who let others define their worth? Because that's where you're heading if you don't take the pen back. Picture this. You're a bird in a cage, wings clipped, staring out at the open sky. The door is unlocked, the way is clear, but you don't move. You've been in that cage so long you've forgotten how to fly. Or maybe you're too afraid to try. What if you fall? What if the world out there is worse than the one you know? So you stay. You stay in a prison with no bars, letting fear hold you captive, while the sky waits for you to claim it. Oh, and I get it. Change is terrifying. It's easier to stay in the shadows, to shrink yourself until you disappear. It's easier to play it safe, to stick to what you know, even if it's killing you. Because at least the pain is familiar. At least the chains are predictable. But here's the truth. Familiarity doesn't mean freedom. Comfort doesn't mean happiness. And staying stuck in this cycle, it's not survival. It's slow, silent self-destruction. Think about the toll it's already taken on you. Look at your body, your mind, your soul. You wake up tired, even after a full night's sleep. You carry a weight in your chest that never seems to lift. Your mind is a battlefield, constantly replaying their words, their actions, their lies. And your soul feels hollow, doesn't it? Like a shell of who you used to be. Because every time they played their games, they took a piece of you with them. And now you're left wondering if there's anything left. You've lost your spark, the light in your eyes that made you who you are. You've become a shadow of yourself, moving through life on autopilot. Afraid to feel, afraid to hope, afraid to dream. Because what's the point? What's the point when every dream feels like another opportunity for disappointment? What's the point when every time you reach for something better, someone is there to snatch it away? Who would start a new dream and live in it without the responsibilities of being it all? What's the point when every time you reach for something better, someone is there to snooch it away? But let me tell you something. This isn't living. This is existing. This is survival mode. And if you keep going like this, it'll break you. Slowly, quietly, until one day you wake up and realize you've wasted your life waiting for things to change, waiting for people to treat you better, waiting for someone to save you, waiting for the games to stop. And all the while, the clock keeps ticking. So Marinuke, time doesn't pause for your pain. It doesn't stop because you're hurting. Every second you stay stuck is a second you'll never get back. Let's be honest, you've already felt the cost of this life. Look at the relationships you've lost because you were too afraid to trust again. Look at the opportunities you've let slip away because you didn't believe you deserved them. Look at the dreams you've buried because you were too busy playing the role they assigned you. Slow your roll at home. Stand out with purpose and precision. Look at the weapon you clasp around your heart. They made you think you were powerless and you believed them. You let their games define you, but at what cost? At what cost to your happiness, your peace, your future? If you wait for them to stop playing games, you'll waste your life watching their moves. And here's the harsh truth. They're never going to stop. Why would they? Why would they stop when they've gotten so good at keeping you in check? Why would they stop when your silence, your compliance, your self-doubt feeds their power? They'll keep playing as long as you let them. And every day you wait, you give them another piece of yourself. It's time to confront the truth. Not their truth, not the lies they've sold you, but the truth that's been buried beneath the pain. The truth you've been too afraid to face. Yes, change is hard. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it means stepping into the unknown, risking failure, risking rejection, risking pain. But you know what's even scarier? Staying exactly where you are. Letting them dictate your life year after year until there's nothing left of you but regret. So here's the question. How much more are you willing to lose? How many more years are you willing to give away to people who never deserved you in the first place? How much longer will you let them define your worth, your identity, your future? Because if you don't act now, if you don't make a choice, their games will never end. And you'll spend the rest of your life as a spectator, watching them win, while you wonder what could have been. You deserve more than this. You deserve a life that's yours, a life where you call the shots, where you set the rules, where you choose your path. But no one is going to hand it to you. No one is going to knock on your door and say, here's your freedom. You have to take it. You have to fight for it. And yes, it will hurt. Yes, it will be messy. Yes, it will feel like the hardest thing you've ever done. But isn't it worth it? Isn't your life worth it? They've played their games long enough. Now it's time to end them. Not with revenge, not with bitterness, but with action. By choosing to rise, to reclaim your power, to rewrite the story they tried to script for you. Because if you don't, if you stay where you are, you'll lose the most precious thing you have, time. And once it's gone, you can't get it back. So what's it going to be? Will you stay in the cage, convincing yourself you're safe while the sky waits for you? Or will you spread your wings, take the risk, and finally fly? The choice is yours, but remember this. Every moment you hesitate, every second you delay, they win. And you weren't born to let them win, you were born to rise. Now listen closely, because this is where everything begins to change. This is where you stop seeing yourself as a victim of their games and start recognizing yourself as the architect of your own destiny. Bout you up. I'd say keel, because good things are about to happen. They wanted you to believe you were powerless, that the damage they caused was permanent, that the cracks they left behind would break you, but they were wrong. Those cracks, that's where the light gets in. That's where your strength begins. You've been through hell, yes, but you're still here. Do you understand how powerful that is? Despite everything they did, despite every lie, every betrayal, every manipulation, you're still standing. That alone is proof of your resilience, because you could have given up. You could have let them win, but you didn't. You're still fighting, even if it feels like you've been fighting alone. And that's power. You've been told your scars make you weak, that the pain you carry is a sign of failure, but let me tell you something. Those scars are proof that you survived. They're the evidence of battles fought and lessons learned, not something to hide. They're something to wear with pride, because every scar tells a story, and your story is one of strength, resilience, and transformation. The cracks in your armor don't weaken you, they make you invincible. It's time to flip the script. It's time to stop playing by their rules. Because here's the truth, the game changes the moment you decide you're done being a pawn. The moment you stop letting their moves dictate your life, you become the one in control. And And when you take control, they lose their power. Every step you take toward reclaiming yourself is a step away from their influence. They only win if you keep playing their game. So stop playing. And I know what you're thinking, but how? How do I take back control? How do I rebuild after everything they've done? It starts with small, deliberate steps. It starts with recognizing that you're not broken. You're in the process of becoming whole. And the first step? Set boundaries. Learn to say no. Learn to prioritize yourself, even when it feels selfish. Because setting boundaries isn't about keeping people out. It's about protecting the space where you can grow, heal, and thrive. Next, it's time to remember your worth. For too long, you've let them define it. You've measured yourself against their standards, their opinions, their approval. But your worth has never been up for debate. It's not something they can give or take away. It's intrinsic. It's yours. And it's time you start owning it. Look in the mirror and remind yourself every single day, I am enough. I am worthy. I deserve better. Say it until you believe it, and then keep saying it. And then there's forgiveness. I know, this is the hard one. Because forgiveness feels like letting them off the hook, doesn't it? Like saying what they did was okay. But forgiveness isn't for them. It's for you. It's about releasing the hold they have on your heart. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment and anger. You don't forgive them because they deserve it. You forgive them because you deserve peace. This isn't about erasing the past. It's not about pretending the pain didn't happen. It's about using it, transforming it into something that serves you instead of holding you back. Because every experience, no matter how painful, is a building block. Every tear you've cried, every battle you've fought, every lesson you've learned, it's all part of the foundation you're building now. And this time, it's a foundation no one can shake. You've been hurt, you've been broken, but you're not finished. And I need you to feel the weight of those words. You are not finished. This is not the end of your story. This is the turning point. This is where the narrative shifts, where you stop being the victim and start being the hero. Because you are the hero. You've always been the hero. You just didn't know it yet. You have a choice to make. You can let the pain define you, or you can let it refine you. You can let their games break you, or you can use them as fuel to rise. And rising doesn't mean you forget the past. It doesn't mean you ignore the hurt. It means you stand in the ashes of what they tried to destroy and say, I am still here, and I'm stronger than ever. The power has always been within you. It's been buried under their lies, hidden beneath your fears, but it's there. And now it's time to reclaim it. Step by step, moment by moment, you rebuild, you rediscover, you rise. And as you rise, the rules change. They can't play their games anymore because you're not on their board. You've built your own, and it's one where you make the rules. Let me tell you what happens next. When you start setting boundaries, they'll push back. When you start standing up for yourself, they'll try to tear you down. Because the people who benefited from your silence will never celebrate your voice. But that's not your problem. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to yourself, to your growth, your healing, your future. You've spent so much time carrying their weight, their expectations, their judgments, but it's not yours to carry anymore. Put it down, let it go, and as you do, you'll feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Freedom. The freedom to live life on your own terms. You're the freedom to choose joy, even when it feels unfamiliar. The freedom to walk away from anything or anyone that doesn't align with the person you're becoming. Because this isn't just about healing, it's about transformation. It's about becoming someone they never saw coming. They played games with you, yes. They underestimated you, yes. But they didn't break you. And now, you're the one they'll never be able to figure out. Because your power doesn't come from their approval. It comes from within. And that's something they can never take away. So, rise. Not for them, not to prove them wrong, but for yourself. Because you deserve to see what happens when you stop playing small. You deserve to feel the strength that's been building inside you all along. You deserve to live a life that's yours. Unapologetically, fearlessly, powerfully yours. You've been hurt, you've been broken, but you're not finished. And the best part, the game isn't over. It's just beginning. And this time, you're the one calling the shots. This is it. This is the moment everything shifts. You've come this far, peeling back the layers of pain, shaking off the weight they placed on your shoulders, and now we stand on the edge of something extraordinary. Look around you. The battlefield where they played their games is still, and for the first time you realize something. They never held the power. It was always within you. The difference now is that you see it. The difference now is that you're ready to claim it. Let me tell you what you've become. You're not a pawn anymore, moved around at their convenience, sacrificed for their gains. No, you're the queen on the board now. The most powerful piece. You can move in any direction. You call the shots. And the best part? They don't even know how to play the game now that you've rewritten the rules. They thought they had you figured out, but what they didn't realize is that their games were never about you. They were about their own insecurities, their own fears, their own weaknesses. And in trying to break you, all they did was reveal themselves. Let me be clear, your pain was not wasted. Every tear you cried, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, it wasn't for nothing. It was the fire that forged you. It was the crucible that stripped away everything false, everything small, everything that didn't belong to the person you were meant to become. Because pain has a way of doing that. It burns, yes, but it also refines. It reveals the truth. And the truth is this: you were never as fragile as they wanted you to believe. You were never as weak as they made you feel. You were always powerful. You just needed to see it for yourself. And now the tables have turned. Now they're the ones scrambling, trying to figure out their next move. Because the moment you stop playing their game, the moment you stop letting them define you, their control crumbled. The moment you stepped into your power, they lost theirs. And that's the truth they never wanted you to realize. Their power over you was an illusion. It only existed because you let it. But now, you've taken it back. And they don't know what to do with that. So I ask you, what are you going to do next? Who are you, now that you've shed the lies they told you? What do you stand for, now that you're standing on your own? These are the questions that matter. These are the questions that will shape the rest of your life. Because this is your moment. This is your turning point. This is the place where you stop living for them and start living for yourself. Let's make it plain. The time for waiting is over. The time for watching life happen from the sidelines is done. You've spent enough time in the shadows. It's time to step into the light. It's time to take the lead. Are you ready? Are you ready to stop watching and start living? Because this is where it all begins. This is where you choose yourself. Fully, unapologetically, without hesitation. Let me remind you of something. They played games with you because they were afraid of what would happen if you ever realized your worth. They saw your potential before you did, and it terrified them. That's why they tried to keep you small. That's why they tried to make you doubt yourself. But they failed. Because here you are, standing tall, unbroken, and more powerful than ever. And now it's your turn. Repetition is powerful, so let's repeat this truth until it's etched into your soul. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not a victim. You are resilient. You are powerful. You are unstoppable. Say it with me. I am not finished. I am just beginning. Say it again, louder this time. Feel the words as they leave your lips, as they settle in your chest, as they light a fire in your soul. You are not finished. You are just beginning. Because that's the beauty of this moment. It's not the end of the story, it's the beginning of a new one. The pain you've endured, it's the prologue. The lessons you've learned, they're the foundation. And now you have the pen in your hand and the page is blank. What will you write? What will your story be? Because this time, it's yours to tell. But before you write anything, you need to decide one thing. Who are you? Not who they said you were, not who the world expects you to be, but who you truly are. Are you the person who hides in the shadows waiting for permission to live? Or are you the person who steps into the light and demands to be seen? Are you the person who lets fear dictate your choices? Or are you the person who feels the fear and moves forward anyway? Who are you? And once you've answered that, ask yourself this. What do you stand for? What are the values that define you? What are the principles you refuse to compromise? What are the dreams you've been too afraid to chase? Because those dreams, those principles, those values, they're your guide. They're the compass that will lead you forward. They're the foundation of the life you're about to build. Finally, ask yourself, what will you do next? This is the big one. Because it's not enough to see your power, you have to act on it. It's not enough to recognize your worth, you have to live like you believe it. So, what's the next move? Will you set the boundaries you've been too afraid to set? Will you chase the dream you've been too afraid to name? Will you take the risk, even if it means you might fall? Because the truth is, you're going to fall sometimes. But here's the difference now. You'll get back up every single time. Because that's who you are. That's what you're made of. So rise, step into your power, rewrite the story, flip the script, because this is your moment. This is your turning point. And the game, it's yours now. Play it on your terms, live it on your terms, and let them watch as you become everything they never thought you could be. The poem is the song of you who do the hard things, and let them watch as you become everything they never thought you could be. The tables have turned, the rules have changed, and the truth is undeniable. They played games with you, but now they're playing themselves. And you're unstoppable. Now's the time. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when things get better, right now. You've spent long enough waiting for someone to hand you permission to live, for someone to open the door and say go, but no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to make it easier. That's not their job. It's yours, because this life, your life, belongs to you, and it's time you start living like it. So, what's next? How do you take all of this, the pain, the lessons, the revelations, and turn it into action? It starts with one simple yet profound step. Choose yourself. That's the foundation. That's the beginning of everything. Choose yourself fully and unapologetically, and let that choice guide every decision you make moving forward. Step 1, embrace self-love. It's the oxygen mask you put on before you can help anyone else. You've spent so much time giving pieces of yourself to others, your time, your energy, your heart, while leaving nothing for yourself. But that ends now, because you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't build a life you love if you don't love yourself. Start small. Look in the mirror and speak life into yourself. Say the words you've been waiting for someone else to say. I am enough. I am worthy. I am deserving of love and happiness. Say it every day, even when it feels awkward, even when it feels like a lie. Say it until it becomes the truth you live by. Because self-love isn't just about affirmations. It's about action. It's about treating yourself with the kindness, respect, and care you've always deserved. Forgive yourself for the times you stayed too long, for the mistakes you made, for the opportunities you let slip away. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are a work in progress, and every step forward is an act of love. Step 2, pursue your goals unapologetically. What have you been dreaming of? What have you been too afraid to say out loud because you thought it was too big, too impossible, too far out of reach? Write it down, say it, own it, because those dreams are yours for a reason. They're the map to the life you're meant to live. It's time to stop shrinking yourself to fit into places you've outgrown. It's time to stop apologizing for wanting more, for wanting better, for wanting something different. Look, this is your life, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for the way you choose to live it. Pursue your goals with fire, with passion, with everything you've got, even if it scares you, especially if it scares you. Because fear is not your enemy. Fear is your compass. It points you toward the things that matter, the things that will stretch you, challenge you, and transform you. So, follow it. Take the leap, even when you can't see the net. Trust yourself enough to know that you'll figure it out. Step 3, surround yourself with the right people. Look around you. Who's in your corner? Who's cheering you on, supporting you, pushing you to be your best? And who's holding you back, draining your energy, keeping you small? Because the people you surround yourself with will either lift you higher or pull you down. It's time to do an audit. It's time to set boundaries with those who take more than they give. It's time to let go of the relationships that no longer serve you, even if it's hard, even if it hurts. Because your growth requires space, and you can't grow in an environment that stifles you. Seek out people who inspire you, who challenge you, who see your potential even when you don't. Build a community that uplifts you, that celebrates your victories, that reminds you of your worth on the days you forget. And if you don't have that community yet, start with yourself. Be your own cheerleader, your own advocate, your own biggest fan. The rest will follow. Step 4, see every setback as a setup for a comeback. Here's the truth. Life will knock you down. It will challenge you, frustrate you, and push you to your limits. But every setback is an opportunity. Every failure is a lesson. Every loss is a stepping stone to something greater. And lastly, you are not alone. Number 10, think about it. The pain you've endured, the games they played, the moments that nearly broke you, they all led you here. They all prepared you for this moment. They didn't happen to you. They happened for you. To teach you, to strengthen you, to shape you into the person you're becoming. So when life gets hard, and it will, remember this. You've already survived your worst days. You've already overcome things that should have destroyed you. And you're still here. That means you can handle whatever comes next. That means every setback is just another chapter in your comeback story. Step 5, write your own rules. You've spent enough time playing by their rules, living by their expectations, trying to fit into boxes you were never meant to fit into. But this is your life, and it's time to write your own rules. What do you want? Not what they want for you, not what society says you should want. What do you want? Write it down, speak it out loud, declare it to yourself and the world, and then go after it with everything you've got. Because you're not here to live someone else's life, you're here to create your own. You're here to dream bigger, love harder, and live louder than you ever thought possible. You're here to take risks, to make mistakes, to learn, to grow, and to thrive. And here's the best part. You get to decide. You get to choose what your life looks like. You get to set the rules, break the rules, and rewrite them as many times as you need to. Because this is your story and you're the author. They played games with you, they underestimated you, they tried to break you, but they failed. Because now it's your time. It's your time to rise, to rebuild, to reclaim everything they tried to take from you. You are not the person you were when this started. You are stronger, you are wiser, you are unstoppable. And now, it's your time to write the rules. It's your time to live on your terms. It's your time to be everything they said you couldn't be. So, say it with me one last time. I am not finished. I am just beginning. I am not broken. I am whole. I am not weak. I am powerful. This is your moment. This is your time. Go out there and take it, because the game has changed, and now it's your turn to win. Look at how far you've come. Take a moment to breathe it in. You started this journey carrying the weight of their games, the scars of their betrayal, and the doubts they planted in your heart. You walked through the shadows of your pain, faced the truths you'd been avoiding, and stood in the fire of transformation. And now you're standing on the other side, stronger, clearer, and ready for what comes next. This isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving. It's about realizing that every crack they left in you became a doorway to your light. It's about understanding that every setback they orchestrated was a step in your comeback. And it's about knowing, deep in your soul, that they didn't win. They couldn't, because you were never meant to stay down. You were always meant to rise. Look back, not with regret, but with gratitude. Gratitude for the lessons. Gratitude for the strength you found in the struggle. Gratitude for the version of yourself that fought to make it here, even when it felt impossible. You didn't just endure, you transformed. You became something unshakable, something they never saw coming. So, what now? What do you do with this power, this clarity, this resilience? You live, fully, boldly, loudly. You take everything they tried to break in you and use it to build something extraordinary. You write your story, your way. And when you do, you inspire others to do the same. Because your story doesn't end here. This is only the beginning. You are a force, a light, a reminder that no one, not them, not their games, not their lies, can define you.